Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to your girl. I hope all my kings and queens is feeling lovely. So, today, we have a bunch of stuff for you lined up. But first, we're going to start off with a continuation of the Paul Manafort trial. This is day 2 of Paul Manafort trial, charged with tax evasion. And the penalty usually for that is 1 year and 3 months. But this man, if he is sentenced, is going to suffer 305 years in prison. Now, I don't even know what is the point of even giving that man that much time, knowing damn well he ain't going to be able to serve out his fucking sentence. Excuse the lawn mowers you may hear out in the background. Our gardener is here, so excuse us. But anyway, we're going to continue. Now, Paul, he ran Donald Trump campaign for a short period, but now since Donald Trump won and he's the president, the left want everyone to suffer, even this man Paul. Now, I see that it is quite interesting that Al Capone spent 8 years out of 11-year sentence for tax evasion. Now, you may say, how is this interesting? Well, I find it very interesting that they are charging this man for tax evasion and want to give him 305 years in prison when Al Capone, a murderer, head of the mob, and did the Valentine's Day Massacre in the Cedra, got 11 years, but let's back it up. The man only served 8 years out of 11 years sentence. How is that justice? I really don't get it at all. Why? Because Donald Trump won and the leftists just pretty much can't handle it. Now, I'm assuming that the judge might be a lefty. I'm thinking also, which we know for a fact, that, that the prosecutor is definitely a lefty. Okay? So, this is day 2. Trial. This man, he had lavish taste. Okay, they say tax evasion. He had foreign accounts. Seriously, what millionaire and billionaires ain't got no foreign accounts? Let me know. Okay, let's just keep it real. And then he's sitting here on CNN laughing that he spent $15,000 on a jacket. They laughing and they mad and they hating because they can never fucking afford it. But without further ado, let's just roll the clip and enjoy the show, my love.
When people think of organized crime, they think of Al Capone. He was undoubtedly the most famous mafia mobster ever to live.
Took over the Chicago mob. It was 1925.
Al Capone dealt with his rival Chicago gangs with brutal violence. The most famous example was his 1929 St. Valentine's Day massacre of the Bugs Moran gang.
Capone wanted to be rid of his crosstown rival Bugs Moran, so he cleverly arranged to have Moran contacted by a bootlegger who offered Moran really good whiskey at a bargain price. That way, Moran and his gang were lured to a garage warehouse.
This is what a $15,000 ostrich coat can get you. Gloria, this might be one of the ugliest things I've ever seen.
I'm not so sure I would buy it either, Erin.
Statement, everybody.
Would you buy that? Would you buy that for your hubby? I don't think so, but
no,
certainly
not at
the
any
price. The not even on sale, okay? But I think the price is high, and I think what the judge is trying to say is, okay, stop gilding the lily here. We get it. We get that he had an extravagant lifestyle.
Of Paul Manafort's trial in Virginia, Manafort is charged with tax evasion and filing false loan documents. The average sentence for tax fraud in this country is a little over a year in prison, 1 year and 3 months. Manafort is facing 305 years in prison. He is 69 years old. He has never been charged with a crime. If he's convicted in this trial, Paul Manafort will die in prison. The left thinks that's just fine. Manafort ran Donald Trump's presidential campaign. They believe he deserves to die for that. But watching from the White House, the president tweeted this today about the trial, quote, Looking back on history, who was treated worse, Alphonse Capone, legendary mob boss, killer, and public enemy number one, Or Paul Manafort, political operative and Reagan Dole darling, now serving solitary confinement, although convicted of nothing. Where is the Russian collusion? It's an interesting point, actually. Al Capone ordered the murders of scores of people. He got an 11-year sentence and was released after just 8. He was barely 40 years old when he got out of prison, probably because he never made the mistake of managing an unfashionable political campaign. The plan for Paul Manafort, meanwhile, is to ensure that he dies behind bars. Mueller's lead prosecutor in this case, Andrew Weissmann, is working hard to make sure that happens. If you were at Hillary Clinton's election night party in New York City, you may recognize Andrew Weissmann. He was there too, hoping to celebrate Hillary's victory. Now he is doing the next best thing, avenging Hillary's defeat. Keep in mind that in America, justice is supposed to be evenly applied. It may be the best thing about our country. Political differences aren't supposed to get you locked behind bars. And then came the resistance and everything changed. Opposing Trump became a matter of total war, whatever it takes, even if it means corrupting our justice system and ending a man's life. Dan Bongino is a former Secret Service agent, NRA TV contributor, author of the brand new book Spygate, the attempted sabotage of Donald J. Trump. Dan Bongino joins us now. So Dan, I hate to think that any prosecution is politically motivated, but in a country in which a year and 3 months is the average sentence for tax evasion, to see a man facing 305 years raises red flags, to put it mildly.
Tucker, this case is a disgrace. Listen, I was a federal agent. I don't know Paul Manafort. I don't know what he's guilty of or not guilty of, but I am familiar with federal investigations and the tactics used. And I can tell you with a clean conscience, I have never, ever seen heavy-handed government tactics like this used for what is essentially a process crime and basically a white-collar crime for a guy with no criminal pedigree at all to speak of. This is unheard of. You know, you said at the beginning of the show, justice is supposed to be even-handed. It's supposed to be blind too, Tucker, but it appears to be blind only to Democrats. Paul Manafort is guilty of something. He's guilty of helping Donald Trump win, and that's what's bothering the Mueller probe.
So the point of criminal punishment is to render justice, to do something proportionate, appropriate, to send a statement, we don't accept this kind of behavior. That's why we punish tax evasion, and we should. And also to protect the public, to make sure that someone who's a threat to the rest of us is no longer walking free. In this case, the prosecution didn't even explain how he defrauded the banks. Did the banks lose money? I don't think they did. They didn't explain how much he should have paid in federal taxes but didn't. And I don't think there's a single person in America who feels a physical threat or even a moral threat from 69-year-old Paul Manafort. I mean, they're not even pretending this isn't political.
No, they're not. If they are, they're doing a really poor job. And it really begs the question, Tucker, if the federal government and all the taxpayer assets that support it thought Paul Manafort was such a threat to the Republic, why didn't they warn the Trump team? Barack Obama was the president of the United States, not the Democrat Party. Why didn't they warn the Trump team that this dangerous threat that had to be put in solitary confinement, that had to have the full force of the government weaponized against him? Why didn't they warn them? The answer is because they didn't believe that. I told you, Manafort is guilty of something. He's guilty of helping Donald Trump win. And by the way, Tucker, some of the same process crimes and suspicious activity Mueller's accused Manafort of, ironically enough, Democrats accused of the same thing, or people connected to Democrats, seem to have gotten up to this point a relatively free legal pass.
Even as a matter of, for appearances, would you, if you were Robert Mueller, appoint as the lead prosecutor in a case against Donald Trump's former campaign manager, a Hillary partisan who went to her victory party on election night?
Tucker, they're not, this is a joke. They're not even hiding it. Can I double down on you? How about this? Andrew Weissmann, yes, attended Hillary's party. Jeannie Reed, who was one of his lead prosecutors in the case, represented the Clinton Foundation. Aaron Zebley, Tucker, another prosecutor in the case who's friendly with the whole Mueller crew, represented one of the Clinton guys involved in the destruction of the Blackberries as a lawyer. This is really happening right now. And by the way, other ones are donors to Democratic candidates. You would think a guy with Bob Mueller's level of intelligence, no one's claiming he's a dumb guy, by the way. You would think he would be smart enough to pick this out and pick other lawyers and at least attempt to look nonpartisan. For some reason, they don't seem to care.
Yeah, or they're totally lacking in self-awareness. Almost everybody in that world is lacking self-awareness because they don't know anyone who disagrees with them, which is part of the problem. Dan Bongino, thank you.
So, don't you find that quite weird? This man, all he did is tax evasion. This nigga about to go up for 305 years if this judge want to be an asshole. Actually, if the jury, too. I believe they're going to have a jury trial, too. So, you know what? Honestly, let's just keep it real, as we do on this show. I believe that this nigga didn't make his daily sacrifice. And you know what I mean. Dig what I'm saying? So, somewhere down the line, he ain't do something right. You know what I mean? Them people, them handlers, like, okay, so this how you want to play? Well, we just gonna put you up for this. And bam. That's a lot of fucking time, dude. Like, he did something wrong. He opened up his mouth to the wrong person. You know what I'm saying? Al Capone, we all know Al Capone was in the Illuminati. Let's just keep it fucking real. There ain't nobody in this goddamn world that's gonna do all them hits and all them murders and shit. And all them drug trafficking and everything. And he only got fucking 11 years and actually did 8 years. But hey, I guess you do it right, can't nobody say shit. So, hell if I know. Who am I to judge? So, without further ado, we have Celebrity of the Day. And that person is... Oh, don't hate me now. I'm just giving just my 2 cents here. Alright? Just my 2 cents. Don't nobody try to put no fucking hit on my ass. I don't think that would be a smart idea. Now, anyway, without further ado, Celebrity of the Day is...
what could be her most candid interview ever, addressing the issues so many are wondering about.
I mean, is she brokenhearted? Why hasn't she had babies? Everything about her private life, Jennifer's putting it all out there for you.
5 months after Jen and Justin announced the end of their marriage, InStyle interviewer Molly McNearney, who happens to be Jen's good friend and Jimmy Kimmel's wife, kicked off the interview asking, quote, "When are you getting back together with Brad? Did Justin ever wear your jeans? And what did the twins do?" Jen's response, quote, "You're the only person who could start an interview like that and actually send me into hysterics, not highs." But Jen did give a drop-the-mic response to what she calls a ridiculous tabloid headline, saying, quote, "The misconceptions are Jen can't keep a man, or that I'm sad and heartbroken. First, with all due respect, I'm not heartbroken. And second, those are reckless assumptions." Jen has told ET over the years that being a tabloid fixation is nothing new.
I'm a tabloid nightmare. Like, people, that my life seems so much more dramatic and interesting than it is just because of the stupid tabloids.
Back in 2004, while she was married to Brad Pitt, Jen even satirized the obsession on SNL.
When are you gonna have a baby?
On the Friends, really Friends?
When are you gonna have a baby?
But her tone shifted in 2016 when In Touch published this cover of her vacation with Justin.
Picture of me with a bump and a circle around my stomach. I was just fed up with it.
And now, well, this is what it looks like to be 49, fierce and fearless. Jennifer unleashed her bronzed legs for days and beachy waves for the sultry cover shoot. While her poses look effortless, behind the scenes, Jen says looks can be deceiving.
It's not easy for, if you're not a model. I'm not great at it. Like this one. Wait, hold on. What was the one?
She also tackles the big question of a possible Friends reunion. She says she doesn't know what it would look like, but you never know. One problem, though, Jen says Matt LeBlanc doesn't want to be asked about it anymore, but she says maybe they could talk him into it. That sounds like hope for me.
Well, I want to thank you all for watching. And Jen, you know what? Fuck what everybody else said. You know what I mean? You're going to find a man, girl, that's going to treat you right. You probably need a black man. Keep going through all these white men shit. And, now they have all that shit out there. These women be having babies at like 50. So, girl, you got some time. You got like a year or two. So, good luck. Love you. Friend from friends. All right. Everybody, thanks for watching. And, love, peace, and hair grease.